During this lesson, we're going to show you what a random access memory is and how to install it inside a desktop PC case. RAM comes in a variety of models and speeds. The type of RAM you can get is dependent on your computer's motherboard, or check the manufacturer's website for the RAM specifications that are compatible with your hardware. RAM is available as DDR, double data rate, DDR2, DDR3, and DDR4. Most newer computers use DDR3 or DDR4. You must get the type that is supported by your motherboard. RAM is identified by two different speed numbers, the PC, PC2 or PC3 number, and the megahertz speed. Make sure that both match your motherboard specifications. The PC number example PC3 12800 refers to the maximum bandwidth. 12,800 equals to 12.8 GB maximum bandwidth. The speed of the RAM is signified by the number after the DDR specification. Example, DDR3 1600 equals to 1600 MHz. Open your computer case. Lay your computer tower on its side so that you can access the motherboard when the side panel is removed. You may need a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the panel, or you may be able to unscrew it by hand. Check how many sockets you have for the RAM. Your motherboard has a limit to the number of RAM sticks you can install. Some motherboards support only 2, while others support 4, 6, or even more. Most motherboards have a limit to the amount of memory they can support, regardless of the number of slots. Take your new RAM out of its protective packaging. Remove the RAM from the shielded packaging. Grip it from the sides to avoid touching the contacts on the bottom or circuitry on the board. Remove the old RAM if upgrading. If you're replacing an old RAM, remove it by releasing the clamps on each side of the socket. The RAM will be released from the socket and you'll be able to lift it straight out of the motherboard with little or no effort. Insert the RAM into the RAM slot. Line up the notch in the stick of the RAM to break in the slot. Set the stick into the slot and then apply equal pressure on the stick until the clamps on the side click and lock the RAM in. You may have to apply a fair amount of pressure, but never force it. Make sure matching pairs are inserted in their matching sockets. Most are labeled on the board or by color, though you may need to refer to your motherboard layout diagram. Repeat the process of each stick of the RAM you want to install. Close up the computer. Once you have finished inserting your RAM sticks, you can put the panel back on and screw it back in. Avoid running your computer while the panel is off. This will actually reduce the cooling power of your fans. Plug your peripherals and monitor back in. Power on the computer. Your computer should start normally. If your computer displays the self-testing during the startup, you can verify that the RAM has been installed correctly. If not, you can verify that the RAM was installed once Windows starts. Check the RAM in Windows. Press the Windows key plus the pause brake to open the system properties. You can also click the Start menu. Click on Computer, My Computer, and then click Properties. Your RAM will be listed in the System section or at the bottom of the window. Operating system calculate memory differently, and some computers dedicate a certain amount of RAM to specific functions. For example, video, decreasing the amount available. For example, you may have purchased a 1 GB of RAM, but the operating system may only display 0.99 GB.